Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. I'll be talking about dash cams. Cars have had them for years, but now it's time for motorbikes to get them as well. Dash cams come in many varieties and with many options, such as hardwired options, single standalone modules. You even have them for your handlebars or for your mirrors, but the one I'll be working with today is a hardwired unit with two cameras facing the front and the back. So this is the box that my unit came in. It is a quite generic motorcycle camera recorder with a nice little instruction manual. Here we have some mounts, got a bunch of cables, extension cables for the camera, more mounts for the cameras themselves. Again, more mounts. These are with sticker pads, kind of like a GoPro, in case you don't want to drill anything onto your bike. And then here we have the whole package kind of put together for testing purposes. As you can see, I have two cameras. They're quite nice, sturdy aluminum housing, nothing really too plasticky about these. And here I have the main unit. This one has a cooling pad on the back. It's waterproof, I believe IP67, and this back plate gets quite warm. I believe this is a cooling plate, so it's probably great to put this against something metal that can conduct that heat a little better. You can also put this out of the bike, but for security purposes I would tuck it away somewhere safe. Here we have a standard 12 volt connection. This comes with a waterproof power box. There's probably just a splitter in here. And we got three cables, a negative one, a signal one, and a positive. The negative one and the positive one will be directly on the battery in case, for example, the bike falls over and the camera needs to start recording. And then we have a signal cable, and this signals basically when the motorbike starts, so that the cameras can start rolling and not deplete your battery completely. Here we have the controller unit. It's kind of designed to be put onto your handlebar in case you want to click record or lock your footage, or just use the audio or disable the audio. And it has a bunch of features also with the lights and a microphone built in. Now I'm not too sure if I will be placing this unit onto my handlebar because I'm not such a fan of the look, and I won't really need these buttons anyway. All I want it to do is just record non-stop when I'm driving or when the G sensor is activated. So I might hide this under my saddle for easier access over there. Okay, so coming over to the motorbike. It's fairly simple, but there's definitely some things we need to be doing for a nice and clean install. The nice thing about a hardwired system is that once it's installed, you really don't have to pay any attention to it or move something out of the way or charge something when you get home. You just install it once and it will run as long as the bike is in good condition. However, a hardwired system takes a little extra step. For example, you need to remove most of the panels to work away the cables nicely, and you have to fiddle around a little bit with the electronics. This might sound sketchy to some people, but it's actually really easy as long as you have a bit of basic knowledge about working on motorbikes or electronics. This BMW S1000xr runs on a CAN bus system. This is a computer system that kind of detects a lot of units and is relatively quite smart compared to a normal fused system. So I'll have to find a way to wire the signal wire to something that detects when the bike is actually on or off. You can also just use it on the positive wire on the battery, but that way the G unit and the camera module itself will never really know when the bike is actually on or off or when you're using it. So it could definitely deplete your battery in the process. It's also quite smart to think about where you're going to place the cameras. You don't want to have it too high and you don't want to have it too low. For example, I've seen some people install it on the front fender of the motorbike. This is a turning object, so the cable could wear out over time, and it's just more prone to get hit by some random object or a person. I like to put the camera maybe a bit more hidden under the front of the nose, and in the back I'll most likely just put it on the license plate, as I still have the stock license plate holder. Okay, moving over to the front of the motorbike here. After playing around for a while, I figured that the bottom plastic plate that's here is fairly easy to remove by just removing the 3 bolts holding it in place. You'll be left with this little unit. Kind of just slides out and you can pop it back in fairly easy. And on the bottom here I will be mounting the camera so that it has a nice forward-facing view without being not too noticeable. So in the end, this is what I came up with. It is not the cleanest option. It's a bit of gold bling, but these were the only nuts I had laying around. And in the end, I ditched the screws and I just went for 2 small Allen bolts with these nuts on it that are kind of locked in to the plastic shape. So they're not going to back out. And I used a bit of thread locker on the bolts to keep them in place. This way I can mount the camera easy. And on the other side, there is no protruding parts that could complicate the removal or installation of this panel. Now, would you look at that? That is a nice placement. It's good, it's sturdy. I can run the wire kind of like this. I thought putting the wire through the plastic plate here. I could, but the thing is the connector on the wire is relatively big. So the hole would be, just too noticeable, too big. And that wouldn't be really nice. So I'm going to put the cable just in the existing zip tie spot over there and just run it nice and tight like this, and just kind of see with some turning and twisting of the steering if that wire would get caught on anything or if there's a risk of that. So coming over to the back side, I was playing around with the license plate holder, but I just wasn't getting really far. This cover you can remove. You can pull the whole lock out, but it's a lot of work just to get the cable basically running into the saddle compartment. And then up there I spotted this tiny gap between the top mount and the base plate. And it's pretty much enough for this cable to comfortably fit, even with the bolts all the way down. It might get squished a little bit, but that's okay as long as all the data is coming through nicely. And there we go, a really nice, clean looking camera placement, quite stealthy as well. And of course with the golden nuts, that's all I have for now, but at least they're closed nuts, so they're not going to rust out that easy. And on top, it looks really clean as well, very factory. It's almost like it was part of the trim package. So here we are in the back. As you can see, I just loosely hooked up the main unit. And the cable comes out here. I just nicely routed it away. And I'm thinking in the back here I can probably mount it using these 2 screws. Perhaps in the existing hole over there, or over there, over there. Normally there's a BMW security unit that can be placed here, an alarm unit. I don't have that, so I have that extra space available. And I want to see what, for example, this connector does. If there's a signal wire in there that I can use for this main unit, or that I have to extend the wire somewhere else into the harness. Okay, I've set the multimeter to 20 volts, and we have 3 wires here, red, gray, black, gray, and brown. I know brown is ground, so we don't really need that. So first thing I'm going to do is test the top one, which is red, gray. So I'm just going to plug that one in there. And with one hand I have to hold the negative terminal as well while I turn on the bike. Boom, 11.3 volts. That's really good. That's a great signal wire. But this plug could definitely work. And I guess you could even use this for, auxiliary lights, maybe a USB or some other accessories. So that's quite nice. This wiring mess here that I have is a test setup, because I figured that on this auxiliary light connection on the gray and red line, there's a 12 volt signal. This signal I can use to basically tell the dashcam module to turn on and off with the bike. That way it knows when the bike's on and when the bike is off, so it doesn't start accidentally recording. And now, as soon as I turn the bike on, it will start recording continuously, because this connector tells it that it's on. When I turn the bike off, it stops recording. However, the nice thing with this dashcam is that in the central module here, there's a G sensor. So if I were to give the module a little wiggle when the bike is off, it triggers the parking alarm. Basically, it simulates the bike might fall over or might get pushed, and it starts an automatic recording. So let's demonstrate this for you. I'm now gonna turn the bike on. There you go, there's a light, it wakes up, it initializes and starts recording. And by the way, right now the Wi-Fi is also turning on, because with the standard mode, which it is in right now, it will turn on Wi-Fi. And of course, in an emergency mode, when the bike trips over and there's no actual power from this socket to the unit, the Wi-Fi won't turn on, but it will start recording. So right now, turn the power off, stops its recording, and it turns off. Now I'll give it a couple seconds before I'll jiggle the central module. Let's see how this goes. There you go, I jiggled it slightly and it starts to emergency record as soon as I go for it. And this is possible because it is hardwired to the battery. So in case of an emergency, it starts to record about a minute or so, or a couple seconds. So it's important that I mount this module into a sturdy place so that I don't accidentally trigger one of these recordings. So there we have it, a simple and quick dash cam install. I'm very happy with how it worked out in the back here. Everything is nicely in one place, and I'm glad that that signal wire worked as well. This is of course a CAN bus bike, so it was a bit more tricky to find that signal wire and not to trip up the system. If you have a standard fuse system, it's a lot easier. Often bikes will come with an accessory slot with a positive and negative signal wire, and you can use this instead. Other than that, it works. That's what matters. And yeah, if you wanted to use the remote, you could always choose to connect that to your steering instead. I did not, because it's just another wire running through the system and I want to have everything in one place. So if you have any questions, leave it in the comments down below. I know I don't upload that frequently, but when I have something cool like this, I'll definitely make another video of it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.